Hey everyone, and welcome to the Perfect Bite podcast, your fusion of food and entrepreneurship. You'll hear stories from chefs, restaurateurs, CPG brands, and more from the food and bev industry. All of them are at different points in their journeys, talking about their experiences and how they've cooked up something new. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the Perfect Bite podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Perkins. I've been fortunate enough to get to know today's guest over the last few years as a strong member of the female food community in Chicago. She's built a brand and product that is absolutely dynamic. Her gorgeous Thai chili jam, Nam Prik Pao, has been rocketing in growth, and she's starting to become a household name thanks to partnerships and national TV appearances. She truly is a testament to success through unexpected pivots. Please welcome founder of Pink Salt Kitchens, Palita Sriratana.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, you moved away from Chicago, so this is like such a nice treat.
No, I'm just reaching out to everyone I know in Chicago now and being like, this is how we get to hang out.
You know, why not? Why not?
Come on the podcast.
I love it.
But again, so happy to see you. And I can't wait for everyone to hear about your journey and what you've built, because I mean it when I say, like, you have one of those stories that you just don't give up. And it's awesome.
For better, for worse, I just don't give up.
I mean, it's for better, because it really just shows you have so much conviction in what you're doing, and that if you have to switch things up, then that's how you're going to keep going. That's how you're going to make it happen.
100%.
So I always love to start at the beginning here. Take us back to childhood. When did you first fall in love with food, and what were your favorite foods as a kid?
Oh my gosh. My first memories are food. My grandma lived with us. So I guess backtrack. I grew up in Central Illinois. My grandma came to help my parents raise my two brothers and I, and so she was with us during the day, so she would cook. And she just made like wonderful things. They would host parties in her basement. She'd make these egg rolls and she'd pick me up from school. So my first memories are rolling egg rolls with my grandma to The Price is Right. And then sadly she passed when I was 6. And you would think like a normal 6-year-old like doesn't really know food, but I just remember kind of like, oh, she's gone and there's like this hole. But then I started getting like really curious. I'm like, oh, I kind of remember making the egg rolls. And then so when I was around 7 or 8, I was like, Mom, can you like buy cabbage? Do you remember how grandma like cut the carrots? And so I just remember making the egg rolls. And I think my mom was just like, what is this 7-year-old doing? And they came out, I think, pretty okay. But other than that, I always cooked. Really can say that. I was always surrounded by food, always wanting to cook, even when I was very little.
And it's amazing that you picked up so quickly to what we all know as adults, which is just how important family meals and those moments we have with our loved ones mean for us for the rest of our lives. Are you still making those egg rolls?
I do for my nephew and niece.
Yeah.
I actually have 2 nephews. So one nephew lives in New York. And so every Christmas I make the egg rolls, even if the youngest one can't eat solids yet. I just want them to see it and to remember it. And I get so happy that I get to share it. And I think it brings a lot of joy to my brothers because they're a little older than me. Yeah. So they got to be with my grandma for much longer. So they remember it and they're like, this is like such a wonderful thing to share with them.
Oh my gosh. And now it's Auntie Palita's
I know.
Egg rolls, which is so cool.
No, I get to be the aunt.
I've only got 1 or 2 of those family recipes. And again, nothing like an egg roll. They are also from some Central Illinois folks. But again, it's great grandma Wenzel. So German side of the families. Yeah. Just her pancakes. And it truly is just one of those 5-ingredient pancakes. So I've never bought a pancake mix in my life because it's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It's almost like this Depression era pancake mix. And it always tastes so good. It just turns out well. It's not too fluffy. So there's some density.
Sweet pancake?
Yeah, like a griddle cake.
Oh my God.
And it's just, what is it? Flour, milk, 1 egg, baking soda, salt.
It's perfect.
And then you add in your little blueberries or anything else that you want. So that's the only one that we had typed out on a little index card that I've now got saved as a picture on my phone.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
anyway, off of my tangent,
No,
but
I love that. I think it's just like it's something so simple, but it's passed down and it just like connects to a certain memory, a certain feeling. And I think we remember a lot of how someone makes us feel. And for me, I remember that's for food.
definitely. So you grew up in Bloomington, Illinois. So
Mm.
for folks, that is another college town in Illinois. And I am guessing you did not have a ton of great food around you outside of the house. From what I remember, there might be one pizza place that has some very interesting bread in that area.
Oh, are we talking about Avanti's?
Yes,
Oh, Avanti's. Yeah,
that's the
Bloomington.
one thing.
That's the one thing you know, and you know exactly which one it is. Avanti's is what I thought was like Italian food.
Right.
It's very sweet. It's very down the middle. It's very American. And it
Yeah.
was also just what I ate every time I walked to tennis practice because between my high school and between the courts was an Avanti. So every day we get the loaf of bread, and the key is to have it with ranch. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know
But
that was the key, but I'll have ranch with anything.
I will not, but I will have the bread with. But the bread is a little bit sweet, so the ranch offers it like a little tanginess. But Bloomington, yeah, not other than being the hometown of Steak and Shake, is not quite the food capital. It is, however, the fast food highest. I don't know if the statistic is still true to this day, but in the 90s, it was the highest fast food per person per capita in the
Oh my
US.
goodness. In
Right.
the US.
Mm-hmm. And then I think Columbus is right behind. So
Oh man, this is America.
I love it. Yeah. So like if you drive,
That's the heart of it. Yeah.
yeah, if you drive down the main street, Veterans Parkway, you see like a Chi-Chi's, a Carlos O'Kelly's. Could rattle them all off. We had them all.
Right. Then Steak and Shake. So, what was part of your journey that really led you to food? What made you say that going into a career with food ended up being the way for you?
For me, I was obsessive. I mean, this story is going to go like two different routes. My parents were very strict and they wanted me to become a doctor. So I went down
Mhm.
that route. But while going down that route through much of my life, I spent every summer in Thailand and I would follow around my aunts. I was the youngest cousin. So all my cousins were like in high school and I'm like 10 years old following around my retired aunts. And they would just make these dishes and people would come home for the day from work or school and my aunts would just have this meal ready. It was a way that they showed that they
Mhm.
cared. And they knew because I was around that I was very curious. They were trying to teach me like, oh, your grandma used to make this, or I'm known for making this in our family, like this elaborate tapioca starch dumpling filled with like a sweetened cashew pork. So I was always just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And like, I have nothing else to do during the day because, you know, we didn't have internet. Wow, that ages me. And we had dial up. And I just loved it. So when I came back to the States, I wanted to recreate all of that. And in our small town, we didn't really have like an Asian grocer yet. Actually, I'm sorry, we did, but it was just all of it, but it wasn't specified. Like different cultures, different countries have different soy sauce. It comes out with a different flavor profile. And then I just became obsessive over it. I would research it. You know, the recipes I would get were just like, oh, a pinch of this, finish the bottle of that, handful of that, handful of tapioca pearls. And so I became obsessed with measuring it out, making sure it was replicable. And I just loved it. It was a way for me to reconnect with this part of me. And then my hometown wasn't as diverse at that time. And so it just helped me figure out who I was and what I really connected to. And I think it just gave me a lot of confidence of just learning where all these dishes came from. Like, why does this strike such a chord with me? And then also being able to share it with friends was like the next level. And, like, my family's from Thailand. I just came back. This is what I learned, and being able to like make chicken satay for some of my friends one day. We were like 14.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
but like,
So young.
I know. So my friends would come over and I'd be like, yeah, let's just like make chicken satay with like peanut sauce. Like really at the time from like kind of really surface Thai dishes, and then it just grew from there.
Yeah. And I'm sure they appreciated it because, again, like you said, you were in the fast food capital of America, literally. And it just like that sense that, especially, let's say over the last 10 years, that we've all been talking a lot more about how food really does affect not just what feels like physical health, but our mental health too. So if you're not eating things that taste good and have real ingredients in them and have a story, then you're kind of like, I guess I'm just having the same thing again. And I don't feel great. And it doesn't make me feel some type of way.
Oh yeah. I think food ties a lot to our emotion.
Yeah.
And then also just being able to get good food of what is in our budget, what is reachable, what is accessible goes a long way. Yeah, just also I don't want to knock fast.
I mean, it's a good treat. It's a good treat.
It is. If you've ever had Steak and Shake, if anyone's listened to it, it's amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me, like my man in the other room here, if he heard us talking about Steak and Shake, he'd pop his head out like, I've been to every Steak and Shake from here to Michigan.
Oh my God. I
We'll just get road trips.
I was born
Pretty
across
much
the street from the original Steak and Shake.
It's,
Again, it's just so silly.
It's good to have a treat. It's a good, again, quick diner-esque type of place to go to, but it's not the same as real culture.
Yeah, yeah. And also just like whatever, cooking from the heart, I think is like the most important thing, even if it's just something as simple as mac and cheese or I don't know. I think our standard of cooking is always like our mom's cooking, or our grandma's cooking, or that person in our lives cooking. Like that becomes like our benchmark for all the things that we enjoy later.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was that moment? You say that you're on that route, you're saying, okay, I'm probably going to medical school. Where was the shift? When did it happen?
Well, fast forward a few years, I did my undergrad in the typical pre-med route. I didn't fail, but I didn't succeed. And obviously to go to med school, you got to be like top of the top, best of the best. And I just kept taking the MCATs and I just could not hit the score. And I applied anyways. And I just felt like, actually, I knew that I was like living out someone else's dream. And it finally just got to a point I was like, you know what? For better or for worse, I should know when to give up. And I think this one took a little bit too long, but I don't regret a thing. I finally just threw in the towel. I told my parents, I'm like, I cannot do this. I always wanted to please them. That is kind of just being the daughter of Asian parents. And I just like, this is eating at my mental health. And they're like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. So I set out and I did a whole string of odd jobs. Like I worked in the music industry for a little bit. I don't know. I don't talk about it too much. But I used to do like PR for like music festivals. So I like got to go to Coachella and South by Southwest. I was helping out my friend's blog.
Cool.
Yeah, it was like kind of fun. I was like, we would just go somewhere at like 9 o'clock at night and ask to be backstage. And when you're like 25, you're like, yeah, let's just do it. We could totally do this. Right. And that was like when music blogs were like huge. And then after that, I worked in luxury travel and kind of like on the marketing front. So it's kind of like starting to piece together like catering and really just bringing together this wonderful customer experience to private aviation. And I did that for like 2 or 3 years. And then I even went to business school for like 2 semesters. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why. Because I think my dad was like, you need to go back to school if you're going to keep doing both.
Hopping about. Sounds like my dad.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't blame you. I was like, I get it. So I was in business school for like 2 semesters, and then I saw this Eater article. Oh yeah, and then also I was a research tech over at Rush University, so I used to study parasites. That was actually like 7 years of my life, so I totally just glazed over that. So
Oh,
I used,
goodness.
yeah, but I digress. I saw this Eater article. It had been like 2018, 2019. And it just said, like, there's this food hall coming, and each kitchen's going to have an open concept kitchen. So it's not going to be just like a normal food hall where it's not scoop and serve, but more like incubator-esque. You get to see into the kitchen, you get to see the chefs making it. And I was like, you know what? I need to get this out of my system. I was like, if I get it, yeah, I was like, I'll apply. At that point, I had only staged at 2 restaurants. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this. But I need
But you
to.
had staged. Where?
At that time, Nico Osteria, which is an Italian restaurant owned by One Off Hospitality. I went there because I wanted to cook things that I wasn't familiar with. So making pasta. And then growing up in the Midwest, and especially after studying abroad in Japan, I am not familiar enough with seafood and fish. I love seafood and fish. And I knew that they got shipments directly from Japan, flown in almost every day. So I went and worked there for a little bit. And then I just loved Au Cheval. It was the year that Au Cheval had opened. And I knocked on the door and they're like, yeah, like, are you here for the host position? And I was like, no. I was like, my friend said that like I could just like stage. And they're like, oh, okay. Come back later tonight. And I was like, oh, just like that? All right. Okay. So I like ran home and like grabbed a pair of Crocs, came back later that night, and they just threw me on the line. And I was like, as an a stage is supposed to just be an apprentice.
And like Au Cheval.
And Au Cheval being the
You
number
don't
one
stop.
You don't stop. And the reason why I wanted to go to Au Cheval was I loved how streamlined and how high quality it was.
Yes.
Just everything. It is a very tight ship. I knew close to nothing, and they just put me on the second station. I was like, yeah, this isn't going to go well. The guy next to me is just like, just baste the bacon and just don't burn it. And I was like, okay. So like my job was just purely to pull bacon out of this drawer and roast it, baste it with this maple and roast it again, and then hand it to the next station. And then on occasion, someone would order soup, and then so I would cook the soup or heat up the duck heart gravy, which is the hidden gem on the menu. It's foie gras and eggs with duck heart gravy. If it's still there, it is a must.
I've still never had that one. I just am like, I know the exact candied bacon you're describing that you're behind. And it's like, my goodness, you are so humble about all of this. These are 2 iconic spots.
Yeah. So it was like total opposites because I wanted to like experience one restaurant group and wanted to experience the other one.
Yeah.
And I would just come home from Au Cheval smelling like bacon. But I loved it. I was like telling someone, I was like, this is my first time cooking. The girl was like, what?
You're like, great.
I don't know. But it was a fun time. I loved it. I would do it all over again. So I applied to get into this food hall, as we know is now called Fulton Galley. And I was chosen out of, I think, 76 concepts. 5 of us were selected. And so I had my own kitchen. The other 4 were veteran chefs. One was the CDC Republican, casual. Another one was the executive chefs from Soho House. Another one, and I think he was the exec chef at one of the hotels downtown. So like really seasoned people. And then the 5th one being me. And at that time, I had a food blog that I just purely kept so that I knew all the recipes and kept the measurements. And it was just like mostly for me. So I would share it with my friends. And that is what I used to leverage getting that food stall. So I found out in November. Our first meeting was in February. We were expected to open early June. We ended up opening late June, coincidentally on the day of my grandma's passing anniversary. So it was like very meaningful, like just like, oh, this is like very full circle to me. because he kept delaying the opening, like one more week, one more week. And I was like, man, it's going to like land on my grandma's passing day. And usually on the anniversary of her death, I would go to temple and just kind of, I don't know, just chat with her, I guess. So we opened June 22nd of 2019. And that is the birth of Pink Salt as the restaurant.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that was your temple that day.
Yeah.
I've heard a temple. And believe it or not, when you were talking about all of your past jobs and the work leading up to it, I was like, oh no. If you look at your branding and how you lay everything out, everything makes sense. It's all you. It really is. It's this sense of accessible luxury and, like you said, simple, but it's high-end ingredients. And then there's this really cool thing, especially about the font and just how you, again, present the product in your accounts. It's like a little rock and roll, a little punk rock.
Yeah.
It's like this cool, strong, feminine vibe, and it's totally you.
It has to be very
all
strong.
you.
Thank you. And the irony is my favorite color isn't pink.
Oh.
And it was meant to, first of all, my grandma always picked me up from kindergarten in this powder pink Reebok sweatsuit jumpsuit with
Gorgeous.
pink. My grandma didn't have many designer things, but she had these like pink YSL rose colored sunglasses that she would just show up just drenched in pink. And it was a vibe.
She sounds so cool.
She was really cool. The pink was an homage to her, and the Pink Salt is also my initials, PF.
There you go. I was going to say Himalayan pink salt is also just lovely.
It is also really lovely. And that was another layer. It's like, it's always the last touch. That kind of like that meditative moment before you send out the dish. Just a little dusting.
Yeah. So what was the reaction when you first were doing essentially a pop-up kitchen, your own food stall within this galley? What was the reaction to the food? What did you learn during that time of running your own concept?
Oh, gosh. Because I was opening in the food hall, bam, Pink Salt, all these veteran chefs, and then this person who we have no idea about. So I was this big question mark.
Curiosity.
I know. And I think because of that, it gained a lot of momentum. Just because they're like, we have no idea who this person is. This person has no history in the industry. Even one of the articles is just like, she was established twice. You know, it's like, I can't lie. I was like, I'm not going to lie about my experience. It's like, I'd only been established twice. And so I set out to find a sous chef that knew how to run a kitchen like that. I barely knew how to run a business, let alone a kitchen, but at least I could find someone to run a kitchen and I will help grow the business. And so I found Dylan, my first sous chef, who was absolutely wonderful. He was a long-standing line cook at Cafe Mary John, if people remember that place.
Yeah.
And so I had all the dishes, all the recipes, and Dylan helped me streamline the process. So we made sure that you ordered food and the food came out in like 10 minutes. You know, like it's a big deal. Thai food is very nuanced. It can be very cumbersome. And I think the initial reaction was just, wow, like we have no idea where this came from. People were just so excited. People really felt like I was cooking from the heart because I was. And what I had to learn through that was I have a very spicy palate and I forget that. And I'll just get so excited to cook. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm cooking for myself. And then I like dump in all these chilies and I'm like, that might be a lot. And it took...
You're like these poor Midwesterners. And they're sweating.
I was like, we gotta have stepping stones to get to this point. And just the initial customers were just like, this is way too spicy. Our first Yelp review was a 1-star. We had to remake this girl's dish like 3 times and she was not happy. And I don't blame her. But it took a lot. What I ended up having to do is train my team, meeting people where they're at. That doesn't mean necessarily diluting my cuisine or my food, but just understanding like, oh, hey, I appreciate for you even just coming here to try it. But like, let me educate you a little bit. I'm willing to take on that. I don't even want to call it burden, but it does take on some extra energy. I don't think I should be the ambassador to Thai food or anything, or be the educative mouthpiece for it. I just choose to be like, tell me where you're at and like, let me explain this dish. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, thanks for trying. And so having our cashier talk to each customer, you know, like this dish is spicy. It's only good if it's spicy. If you don't want spicy, go with the other dish. And then honestly, after that 1-star Yelp review, it became notorious. I think it like blew up on Instagram at the time. And then I just remember coming in, I was like, 60 to 80 orders of this chicken, this lap guy, this Thai style chicken salad every day. People just line up. They're like, give us the spicy chicken. We want to see whether we can take it. And I was like, you understand that if it's too spicy for you, I'm not going to refund you.
I'm not gonna make it 3 times like I did for this woman.
I was like, just so you know, I was like, there's spicy and then there's Thai spicy, and people just got really into it. And so I think taking that really harsh feedback and learning from it and kind of just, you know, take what serves me and take what doesn't serve me, and then just move on. Look at it dead on. Like, yeah, I should have explained to her that it was spicy. She probably shouldn't have written the 1-star Yelp review, but it happened. And we just took it on straight on. And the food hall was not happy. They were like, this is the first review and you give it a 1-star. And I was like, yeah.
And then they started lining up.
They started lining up for you. Yeah. So it was like really, really exciting. So I told my team, I was like, it happens and we will learn, but we will also take the time to educate the customer and give them a good experience. So that is what I took away from them.
I think it's brilliant. And to make a little pun here, she set your business on fire.
She did.
Here she was thinking she was going to bring you down. And you said, okay, that's fine. Here's the fuel. I like how it became a challenge for people. And that's really the way of turning something on its head and saying, it doesn't have to be just this horrible experience and you lay down after that. It's like you said, you learn from it and you can make it something fun.
Oh, yeah. I dreamt about opening Pink Salt essentially my whole life before it even had a name. So a 1-star Yelp review is not going to set me back. Did I sit in my feelings for like 3 hours that night and think about like, how am I going to tell my staff this the next morning? But I'm glad we came out of it. So yeah.
You did. And you did it so well. Now, you're reaching a point in time where we all know suddenly something loomed that affected everyone.
Yeah, so COVID came.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're talking 2018, 2019, and suddenly, as we know, it hit.
So we closed just before COVID fully hit, but we knew it was coming. I knew Seattle at that point had been hit, and then just running one concept under one roof, one restaurant concept under one roof is really tough, let alone 5. So there was just a lot of needs that weren't met, and it was a good stopping point. And I remember when they announced it, they told Eater before they told me, which was like a little odd, but I kind of
always getting the scoop.
I know. It was kind of odd. It was sad to see all this come to an end so abruptly, but I also reflected in those. We were only open for 6 months. So in the 6 months, I was like, I accomplished so much. I made the food I wanted to make. I did not back down. I overcame some hurdles. It was an investment to open it, but I would have done it all over again. The model was that they took like 30% of revenue. So the initial investment wasn't anything crazy. So it was like, this was a great experiment. This was like real, like this to me was like better than business school. Like this, I learned so much. And with it ending, although very sad, it gave me time to revisit just like really cooking. I was like, oh, wow, now I have time to go and gain that knowledge that I didn't have time to get before it because I was so focused on like filing the LLC, getting all this and getting the restaurant ready, doing all the interviews and just streamlining the menu. But I was like, but now can I actually call myself a chef? Can I go somewhere and just be like, I want to learn? And it gave me that chance to finally do that.
Wow. So what happened then in that moment? You've had to say goodbye to this iteration of Pink Salt, but something really beautiful came out
Yeah.
of it. And this is around the time that I met you and got to know you. And
Yeah. So
it's been some time.
that's crazy. Yeah. Time really flies. So I did this separate club called Room Service, and we were all trapped at home. It was at this point where everybody was getting takeout. You can dine in restaurants. And I just wanted to have this beautiful experience at home. And I approached Room Service as just like one giant art project. And so essentially I made like all these like meal kits of what we call in Thai ahan jandio, so one plate meals. Typically Thai food is family styles. You order like 6 things. But here we all are stuck at home alone. And what better than to fantasize being at a luxury resort and you ordered room service and it comes to you and it's beautiful. Whereas takeout is like, oh, it was delicious coming out of the pan, poured into your plastic box, and then you get it and all the vegetables are wilted and it's upside down.
Yeah.
And so room service was a way to think about that. It's a little touristy, and that was like the whole kitschiness of it. But think about like a pineapple fried rice with like really delicious shrimp and crab over the top. Or I did all the components for a papaya salad and invited the guests to kind of just like mix it. And then all the menus were drafted to look like a room service menu. But underneath each item was the 3-step preparation to put that dish together. So I think people took a lot of joy in piecing the dishes together and then really engaging with their friends. And it was supposed to be like a meal kit. So I was like, there's 6 different options. This should last you a week, you know? But then we launched that and it sold out in like 7 minutes. So I added more and I was like, shoot, I got to call back the rest of the team. Is they're going to be okay with this? And then it just took off. And as people were ordering, I really wanted to separate myself from existing Thai restaurants, not to knock on, they're absolutely delicious. You have the staples of like curries and noodles, but it's like, why go through all the hassle to order through a pop-up and wait online in this queue when you can just like open Grubhub and order Thai food? It's like, we have to make ourselves different. And it gave me the time to go and be like, there's this Thai regional cuisine that I really want to dive into that I didn't get the chance to like fully test out. And so this was the perfect scenario for me to like, I'm going to make that curry paste. I'm going to make that sauce. And then, so you make all this curry paste and sauce and the customer enjoy it, but then they'd be like, can I have some more? And so one of the first ones was Nam Prik Pao. And so I just started putting in like souffle cups and I was like, just take it, enjoy, have it with eggs and rice. If you want it spicier, put on more.
Yeah. Yeah. Build.
Build.
That was, oh my goodness, what a beautiful birth of Nam Prik Pao. I didn't realize it came from that little jar, that little moment of, wait, all of this food is great, but that sauce, you were probably hearing things like, you should bottle that. And you're like,
yeah, they were like, you should bottle
that.
that. They're like, how can I send that to my friend in Vegas? And I was like, you sure? There's other Thai food in Vegas. But they're like, no, I want to give it to my mom. I want to send it that way. So I dragged my feet about it for like a year. I probably talked all my friends' ears off. I'm like, I'm going to make the sauce. And I was like, I don't even know how to can. And then finally,
how do I do this?
Yeah. And then finally my therapist was like, you need to just do it. It was like, I haven't seen those boxes behind your desk move in months. So if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And she just called me out of my shit.
And also shout out to all the therapists out there who force entrepreneurs to finally do things.
Exactly. So I finally just set a date. I was like, I have to pick a date. Otherwise, I'm just going to drag it out. It was already dragged out and it was coming up close to Christmas time. But I didn't know the seasons of CPG and all that. So one of the first calls I made was to Hear Your Market. And I spoke to Carly and I was like, yeah, can I get my sauce on the platform? And she's like, now? She's like, it's Halloween. And I was like, yes. And she's like, I will make this exception for you.
Bow down to Queen Carly.
I know.
She made it happen.
She made it happen. She was such a big champion of it. I cannot thank her enough. And this
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember when it came into the office.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So she we just pushed it along. For anyone that works in CPG, a lot of those holiday products, I'm not gonna lie, are chosen in August for those of you listening. So like,
Oh, June, July, like,
even early. I'm saying like August
yeah.
is the latest. So for me to be like 2 days before Halloween, like, yeah, I'm gonna launch this Christmas product. And Carly just really pushed the product through, advocated for me, and we launched on this arbitrary date, like November 11th, 11/11, which is like so cliche, but so silly. I was like, I got to do it. So I launched at 11/11 at 11/11 on Here Market, and it also sold out really fast. I only did like 70 or 80 units. I just remember crying 2 or 3 nights before because the lids kept popping off. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. But we finally got it in the jars. You know, a tight timeline will really light a fire under your butt. And it sold out. And so as soon as Carly sent me the email, and she's like, hey, it sold out. We're going to need more. And I'm like, okay, I'll go order some more jars and you'll have some more in a week. And we just kind of went from there. Still being actually just me. So, I started jarring 36 at a time. And then it was 72 at a time. And I just kept doing 72 jars at a time over and over. I was like, okay, I can do this every week or twice a week. And I was just streamlining the process. So really, really happy with how it launched. Also, that sauce was so spicy, that first iteration.
I felt like such a baby. I'm like,
No.
tell folks who have never tried something like this, like, what is the nuance of flavor? 'Cause it really is. Oh my gosh, it is delectable. It really is. And then it smacked me in the face.
It slaps you on the face. So Nam Prik Pao is a Thai style roasted chili jam. It's kind of piggybacking off of chili crisps or chili oils, but it is a traditional Thai condiment. It's ready to eat. You can cook with it. But what sets it apart is that it is tangy and sweet. So in Thai culture, we have something called sap. We tend to use this towards dishes that kind of really perfectly balanced and harmonizes like spicy, sour, bitter, salty. It's supposed to be all the flavors together as one, and they all play off of each other without overpowering one another. And so Nam Prik Pao, unlike chili crisps or chili oils, had that tangy sweetness. And then also that first iteration has fish sauce. We now have a vegan version. And now we also have mild versions. So that's why there are 4 SKUs. But it is actually all Nam Prik Pao. And for me, I led with that because it's ready to eat and ready to enjoy. I one day want to do curry paste, but, curry paste isn't as ready to eat. But this I felt like was just such a great entryway, and it can be enjoyed on anything from like eggs, rice, pizza is one of my favorite, a charcuterie board. And to me, it challenges people of like where they see Thai food and Thai flavors. It doesn't just have to be your go-to takeout order or this mysterious Thai dish that you have no idea how to make, when it literally can just be drizzled on your pizza. And you're like, oh, this is just so flavorful, so tangy. Think about how much sweetness, umami, and then the tamarind really makes like an existing tomato sauce power. And then of course, it has a base of really delicious caramelized garlic and shallots.
Gosh, that's really what gets me. I'm just such a garlic and onions girl.
Right.
Like you said, I love there was every single flavor when I first tried it. And every time you do, I should say. And it is beautiful. I love that we're entering this era, or have been for some time too, that we're all so excited and so proud of all of these really cool pantry staples.
Oh, yeah.
Again, you see behind me, like,
the graza.
I'm manifesting graza. Like, I truly use this every day. And it's not something that 10 years ago, Sarah would have thought, like, the quality of your olive oil, but in an accessible way, is really important to you. Now it does. And it's the same with Nam Prik Pao and chili oils and all these things, that it's so fun to just get introduced to something totally new and say, that is my absolute new favorite.
Yeah.
And it's not just the usual Kraft Heinz at the grocery store.
Yeah, I love seeing these products come from small makers. Like for me, this represents my heritage. And a big tagline that I use for my brand is that we're born in tradition, but we're not limited by it. I am Thai. I went to Thailand every summer, but I'm also very Midwestern. And so when people talk about Thai food being authentic, it's a challenging conversation because then you're kind of just asking that cook or chef to constantly replicate a dish over what the subjective idea of what is authentic.
Yeah.
And so with Nam Prik Pao, it's a traditional condiment, but you can use it in so many untraditional ways and like really make it your own. And to me, that is so meaningful to being able to share something that's represented of my culture, but you get to use it however you want.
Is beautiful. And it's so representative of you and the journey that you've been telling us so far is you were asked and maybe almost expected to go a certain route, a certain journey. And once you really spoke up for your vision and your heart, everything fell into place. And it's like you said, you made it your way, and that's how it tastes and is beautiful here.
Thank you.
Tell us how things are going today in terms of sales, distribution,
gosh.
your gorgeous marketing photos that you do. I know everyone's always like, oh, I could just make an AI this and that. I'm like, no, everyone needs to go to Palita's accounts and looks how she presents product. And like you said, you're selling like this brand and this lifestyle in addition to it, which is like cool, fun, and new.
Yeah. A lot of the Thai products that are out there that have made it to America are legacy brands. They're the same products that have existed from when my parents first emigrated. And I wanted to create something that felt really special, that, it could sit out on the counter, wanted it to be a really beautiful hosting gift, just wanted it to be really exciting. And then just kind of celebrating being a little bit of a misfit, like from the print and the font and the silliness of it, everything down to like, you can put this off on ice cream. Like, why not? You get to enjoy this however you want.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of the feeling of it is just challenging people of like where they see Thai cooking and Thai flavors and this like third culture identity. Things are definitely growing. I'm always surprised. We still make the sauce by hand, but I am partnering with a co-manufacturer that I have been searching for a year. Their attention to detail and willingness to take feedback. I never thought that I could grow the brand to this way. Because honestly, again, this started as something in a souffle cup. And I think the story really resonates with people. And seeing my cooking reach from like coast to coast, seeing it go from pantries in California to pantries in Boston, Maine, and Florida, and then, reaching other Thai cooks across the country, and then food editors that are just so curious about it and have just been so supportive. I went on Chopped last fall. Yeah. It aired in February, which I was so taken back by, and it was in partnership with White Lotus. So it was like very cool. It was like a Thai themed episode, and we talked about Nam Prik Pao, and it's just so special to see that it's creating this kind of like whole movement of people just enjoying this and engaging this and making it a part of like their daily ritual. And with distribution, we're just going like step by step, and I just have to like believe in myself because all this CPG is very capital intensive. I'm still 100% bootstrapped. It's been growing really organically. I've gotten some grants from the city and been pitching to local programs, hopefully a few grocery stores throughout Chicago. I can't say which one yet, but we are also currently in fresh Thyme. So it's just been building momentum. I want to be here for a long time. And as you know, some people will know that I won the award for Foxtrot and lost Foxtrot, sadly. But again, turning lemons to lemonade, you just keep moving forward with that momentum. I think people remembered when we lost that, and people were so quick to support.
Yes. And what about those challenging moments? Did you end up seeing a big spike after Chopped? I mean, again, you're on an intense cooking show competition. I've also seen you to give folks maybe a little bit of a combination of food and startup background here. there is a lovely conference that has started in Chicago for the food and bev industry called Utility Show. And you had to prepare for this in a really interesting way. I've seen a million tech startup pitches in the past, right? And I've been part of them myself. And you've got a couple of slides on a slide deck. You've got a certain amount of time. That's the first time a judge typically sees any information, ready, set, go. Now, you had judges like Kevin Bean of Boca and Tom Colicchio, the judge of all judges in this world.
Oh my God,
And
he roasted me so hard.
he's a tough cookie, but you know what? I think he has a discerning eye, and I think no one was putting you down. And it was so interesting because they did all have a packet of information you had given them ahead of time to help inform questions. So that's my long-winded answer of saying, for these intense moments you've been a part of, especially in person, where you're putting your heart on your sleeve, your product on your sleeve, what's the preparation like, and how do you take that and move forward with it?
No, no one's going to know your product better than yourself. And I can only do these things if I'm proud of the decisions that I've made. I ultimately did not win that, which was totally fine. The money prize was in exchange for equity, which I think a lot of people didn't realize that.
Be careful.
Yeah, got to be careful. But it gave me a lot of feedback. That was like my first like true pitch. And I was just thinking, I was like, man, this has been a year. I've given over a dozen pitches since then, which is crazy. Like I have 2 pitches lined up for next week, which is so awesome. That popped my pitching cherry. And it was so nerve-wracking. I was like sweating, and you were in the crowd. Like I was like celebrity
just right
judges.
there, and I was like, I'm sorry,
God.
Tom Colicchio is
like,
hi, I've appeared.
And they're asking great questions. And I really thought about those questions after. And I think it just made me a better, it made me think through my pitches more. Even now, when I think of pitches, I think about some of those questions because those are legit. What would I do with this? This is how an investor thinks. But I have worked jobs that I don't love, and I love what I do so much. So to sacrifice any shred of that for this, I'm not going to take it. And that's kind of like my guiding light of that. Like, I don't know, I'm stubborn at this point, but I need to always be proud of what I do because then why am I doing this?
Exactly. I can pitches and like anytime you talk to an investor or a mentor to like being a piece of coral, I like thinking like you hold in and you allow in the nutrients and you filter through anything else.
Yeah.
Allow it to pass through. That you're like, I understand where you might be coming from. That doesn't totally feel in line with me, but thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to think about like, oh, why do they have that perspective of my business or of my product? Is there something misleading in my marketing or my messaging? Or maybe they didn't get it, or maybe just have different perspectives and you just let it pass through and that's it. Just take it for what it is.
I appreciate that. So you're doing such an amazing job. I know I'm saying that like Kris Jenner here. I'm like, you're doing amazing, sweetie. And
Thank you.
We are in this, again, really interesting time, to say the least. What are you doing to prepare for the future? We're unsure in a lot of ways. What's coming, food, bev, hospitality, and agriculture are being particularly hit in terms of regulations, whether we have tariffs one day or not, whether we're just going to see just a lot of things like locking down is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So what are you and your team and the brand and the community doing to, I always like to ask everyone, what are we doing to suit up so that you can keep pushing forward and you can have your mission and vision continue to come to light?
Yeah. With the tariffs coming, my product is made in the US, but my ingredients come from Thailand, and Thailand got hit with a 36% tariff. We just have to be more efficient, being honest with their customers, being transparent. I don't know. It's maybe to some people, it's a small following, but we have a very engaged following, which I am just so fortunate about. But I think just being clear and honest with what we're going through and people want to support. I used to think that I would expand aggressively this summer because that's like the excitement of CPG. That's what's so sexy about a startup and getting investment and all of that. And I had to just take a step back. And it's like, again, I want to be here for a long time. So just slow and steady growth. And to me, it means the world to make sure that my team will be my team for as long as they will let me have them as we navigate this time. So not so much of a rapid expansion, but a slow and steady growth, which is kind of like the opposite of like other CPG products. But for where I'm at right now, we continue to grow sustainably. I'm still proud of everything that we do. And I still love all the faces that I work with. So that is what's going to hold us for the next few months. And then if things lighten, I just don't think, maybe I'm hopelessly optimistic, but I just don't think it's going to stick because everything's going to come along. Otherwise, there's just no way we can survive as like a country in this. Yeah. So just hoping to write it out, just hoping to just make sure that I can keep as many of my staff paid for as long as possible. And then when it comes time to hit the gas, I'll know when.
Yes. And your foundation is going to be so strong.
That's the hope. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm with you too. It's keeping up a sense of optimism through difficult times, as whatever those times have looked like before has all gotten us through. And so that's where maybe my delusion keeps me moving forward.
I know.
You always have to be like, it's a dreamer's brain mixed with
It is.
an
It is.
MBA on the job.
Yeah. It's just like every day is a new learning point. You just got to keep believing in yourself because if you're not a little bit delusional, not everyone can do this. And if it's been done before, then this would have been easy. You know, so I always remind myself that like this has not been done before. And if it has been, then I would love to learn from their experiences, take it on.
That's sweet. And your version is still different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a few last questions here before we get to the world's best and hardest question.
Ooh, okay.
So I would like to ask, what is a piece of advice you like to give anyone who is looking to start something of their own, whether they're looking at CPG or food and bev or just their own business to be an entrepreneur?
It's taking the first step. I think that's the hardest part. Even if it is small or, you know, to this day, I told you I have 4 SKUs. I haven't even released other flavors. I focused on what I knew was good and made sure that it did well. I'm always proud of it, that I can back it 1000%. And sometimes it's just doing it. I didn't wait to start my product line with an offering of 12. I literally started with 1 and then just kept going. And I think a lot of decisions that we make are decisions with the best knowledge that we can, but make that decision. Like, I don't know, take your foot out of the door. If you're always like 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out, you're never really going to fully know the answer. So make that decision and be like, you know what? That wasn't the right decision. Okay, so now I know I can go to option A. Just do it. Like, I don't know. I do love the Nike saying. I was like, it is just do it. If it's not
Just do it.
If it's not it, then go the other route. That's it. But the sooner you make that decision, the sooner you know. So like majority of decisions can be undone. And if it wasn't the right fit for you, go down the other route.
Yep. And you'll learn. And you'll feel it, whether it's the right thing or not.
Yeah. So I think just if you have that idea and you really want to believe in it, don't spend 2 or 3 years trying to talk yourself out of doing it. Just do it. Like in 6 months it fails. But then I always ask myself, well, what if it did work out? Like I still have this Post-it note on my desk. What if it does work out? And that was from when I launched Nam Prik Pao. Like, what would it look like if this did well? What are those goals? Who am I sharing this with? Stuff like that.
And it does. And it did.
It did.
That makes me so, It's making me so emotional. That was so sweet. Oh gosh. All right, Palita, are you ready? So, a little reminder for everyone. This is called The Perfect Bite. Not just because it's a bit of a perfect bite of my career to date, from journalist to startup founder to working with folks in food and bev, but it's because all of us have our own perfect bite. We have our own unique taste buds, moments we've had with food throughout our lives that are just totally us. And it's something that will stick with us forever. So, Palita, what is your perfect bite?
Okay. This takes a little bit of explanation. My perfect bite is Khanom Krok, which is a Thai coconut pancake. And the beauty of it is it's rice flour and coconut milk. And so the bottom batter is primarily rice flour with coconut milk. And you pour it into this shallow, kind of like takoyaki pan, but like a shallow divot. There's also like a Swedish pancake pan that kind of looks like this. So you have to pour this batter down and it crisps up and it's like perfectly lacy. It's sweet. It's a little bit savory from the coconut milk and a touch of salt. And then you have to take this coconut cream with less rice flour, and this becomes a custard, but it cannot hit the walls of this pan directly, otherwise it'll burn. And so it has to push down into the batter. So once you get the hang of it, it's easy to make, but you have to practice. And the inside is custardy and sweet, but it's essentially two batters in one. And then you can top it with like a sweetened egg yolk custard or taro or corn. And then a fun one, you could even do scallions. And you see it on the streets of Thailand, and it's like hot. It's just crispy and lacy on the outside, but it's creamy and just, I don't know, like custardy in the center. And that contrast, the sweet and salty, lacy and creamy. Like, how many times can I say creamy, creamy, creamy? It's amazing. And it's one of my favorite things. So that's called Khanom Krok. So a Thai coconut pancake.
It sounds beautiful. I'd argue that you could put Nam Prik Pao on that.
Oh, that is a, maybe I'll try that later today.
A little something, a little spicy with it. It just, I feel like I was just transported with you, and I felt the humidity and just like the gorgeousness of Thailand. And oh, that was beautiful. Thank you.
We did it for a pop-up for the Thai Fest, and it's a very difficult dessert. And my sous chef and I did it, and these Thai ladies were looking at my redheaded sous chef, and they're like, "How do you know how to make this?" They're like, "Give us 20 more pieces."
I'm like, oh my gosh, you cracked the code.
Yeah, we just did it all day at a street fest. It was just so fun. Definitely.
Incredible.
Best bite ever.
Beautiful. Palita, thank you so much for taking the time today. This was so wonderful. I can't wait for folks to not only hear your story here, but to try their own Nam Prik Pao. Can you let folks know where to buy the product, check out the rest of your brand, and your social accounts?
Ooh. So my social accounts are, me personally is HI.Palita. Hi, Palita. The business account is Pink Salt Kitchens on Instagram. And then to buy the product, you can either buy it at hereheremarket.com and also shop some of my friends' products like Tasting India and all these like other delicious, wonderful brands and Carolyn's Crisp, or go to my own website where you can see all of the Nam Prik Pao iterations at pinksaltkitchens.com.
Fantastic. Palita, thank you again. And a huge congratulations to your next journey, who will join us soon in the world, little baby. I hope you're feeling well. And just can't wait to keep connecting with you and following on your incredible journey here.
Thank you so much for having me on here. It's been such a pleasure.
Well, folks, thanks again for listening in. And this was Palita Sriratana's Perfect Bite.
Thanks for tuning in to The Perfect Bite today. You can listen to future episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Thanks in advance for subscribing, rating, and reviewing. You can follow The Perfect Bite on social media at Perfect Bite Pod. Now go get something good to eat.